from the loft of the KASKI Lodge in Kalkaska, Michigan, it's the Rollsreece podcast. And here he is, Rollsreece!
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Rollsreece podcast. I am Rollsreece, and thanks for coming back and joining us with the KASKI Lodge. You know, I mean, it's the same old scene here. You know, we got old people wandering around, and you know, Ronnie, my sponsor. Hey, Ronnie, how you doing? He's feeling good today. He's got the Hawaiian shirt. No judgment, Ronnie. No judgment there, buddy. We got Denise playing the wall as usual. What are you reading over there, Denise? They're still printing that? Okay. Well, enjoy that. And then we got always everybody's favorite, Ricky. He's over there playing the wall. Ricky, say, is this the one where you're going to say hello, Ricky? Ricky. I said I wouldn't yell at you, but Ricky, you're making it tough. All right, Ricky. Will you bring us some drinks, Ricky? All right. Some point in the next half hour. And, you know, it's a beautiful day here at the KASKI Lodge. We're having a good time. Sun's out, you know, we're getting a little bit of clouds here, but we're having a great afternoon hang. And I'm super excited today because I believe in the inaugural episode, the first awkward episode of the Rollsreece podcast, you heard me talking about a power couple, and I truly mean that, who are out there, they're foraging for different you know, plants and edibles and mushrooms, and they're experts in mushrooms, and they're teaching classes on it. They're doing farm markets, and they just got all this knowledge and so much more. And on top of that, really good friends of mine. I consider them family. I would like to introduce Jill and Aaron Grencik. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming. How you guys doing today?
Hey, Rolls.
How was the journey out to KASKI Lodge here? I mean,
well, to answer your question, Jill, I don't know, how are we doing?
This is my first time here, and I am floored.
Yeah, it's kind of a, you know, a weird place, you know what I mean? You have to have special permission to be in here, you know what I mean? Ronnie got us in. Thanks, Ronnie, you know. What we know is what we know. We'll
Jill
just keep it at that.
We're just kind of flabbergasted. Like, we check out these B&Bs, and we do travel throughout the state quite a bit. And the KASKI Lodge, I do have to say, Rolls, it's really a stupendous thing that's happened and occurred here. I would really like to know who built this thing, but this is just...
It was sometime back in the 20s or 30s, I think. Ronnie, you know anything about that?
Ronnie, I like your shirt.
He is a Hawaiian king, you know. He's fading off. Okay, Ricky's waving him. Ronnie, remember what happened last time? Ronnie, don't do it. All right.
So yeah, as a husband and wife duo, that, you know, I have to thank you, Rolls, for this opportunity, and
thank you for coming. I'm super excited.
The compliments are, you know, we're really humbled by this opportunity to be here at the KASKI Lodge, and we're, like, for you as one of the hosts that they don't even recognize, we just really appreciate you, man.
I mean, super old friends. I mean, Jill, how long have I known you now? Nearly, what, 10 years? Like 8 years or something?
Probably, I'd say about 8.
8 years
maybe
or
10.
So. And then you, I remember being a 14-year-old kid wandering Elk Rapids, you know, maybe 13, and all of a sudden seeing this dude skate by and just do an ollie over a bike. You might see him ollie over a bicycle, and you're going, whoa! And he wasn't like, get out of here, kid. He'd be like, hey guys, what's up? And you're just going, hey, could I ollie like that? And, yeah, probably later, you know. And then
you know, I really do have to give a lot of thanks to skateboarding in general, and
for sure,
skateboarding has just been such a mainstream, wonderful thing in my life from the get-go. My first skateboard I received from my parents when we had just moved from northern Indiana, right at the bottom of the lake, up to Acme, and it was the winter of '78-'79, which is kind of a challenging time period.
I've heard the tales told.
So the true as the tales were told. My parents somehow made it to Sports World, which was in the mall at that time. The Cherryland Mall was the only mall we had. And so
that was a great mall.
So thank God.
That was the last one that had the fountain in the center. Sorry to cut you off.
No, not at all. You're absolutely right. The whole thing. It was the stereotypical 80s mall.
my dream as a kid was to swim in that fountain. Like, can I just go in there and hang out?
So
I wanted to steal the money.
We all did.
So to
Those
complete my
toys
thoughts
were
on
so-
skateboarding.
any toy was right within our grasp. If only we could get in there.
Camelot
Skateboarding,
music.
skateboarding is the reason I have like almost maybe like all of my friends, like if not all, I'm gonna say like legitimately 60, 70, 80% of my friends are through skateboarding. It's given me opportunities no matter where I travel. So it's amazing that you have those recollections.
You had some kind of association with Zorlak at one time. Is that right?
Well, thank God. And it was one of my best friends. We were like 13, 14 years old skating in southern, it was in northern Indiana and Illinois, and we'd go back and forth and basically just his parents had a boat business going on because there was a lake nearby, and they allowed him to have his own
remember the lake?
storefront. Yeah, it's now known as like Fox Lake, I believe. It's
Fox
right
Lake.
in Hammond.
To those of you out there who know Fox Lake, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, Hammond, East Chicago, talking about Whiting, Indiana, all that Havical area that we used to encounter. And so anyway, Indy Mike had his skate shop, and somehow he was able to get us endorsed by one company after another, and we had the blessing to like be young punk kids trying to ollie as high as we could. And
That's what it was all about back then. You could ollie high.
You just took me back further than I thought you would, because that was the last thing.
Well,
on
I'm
my
about
mind.
ready to take Jill way back. What were you doing during those times? I mean, you grew up in northern Michigan more so really than Aaron and I, because you actually were born in this area. Is that right or no?
No, I'm from Iowa.
Iowa,
originally.
so we're all imports.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
well, I
are,
was
but-
mistaken. Ricky, I want better production in the future here, buddy.
Ricky, I don't know that I told you this.
Hey, Ricky, I'll pick another when you get a chance, bud.
Come on, Ricky. Ricky! Anyway, but no, what was your experience growing up here in northern Michigan?
I moved here from Iowa in 1979, which was the same year that Aaron moved here, and I was watching skateboarders, like
beautiful.
most girls born in the 70s.
Yeah.
And yeah, same scenario.
I mean, were you out on were you near lakes? I mean, were you out there swimming? What was it kind of about like in the summer? Because I know for me it was all about getting out in the boat, water skiing, tubing was the ultimate one we loved, but there was maybe a raft you'd jump off of. We always had that.
Well, summer in northern Michigan. My dad worked for the Boy Scouts, so we spent a lot of time in the woods, but we also spent a lot of time on the lake, and yeah, it's just a great place to grow up.
Absolutely. I mean, even now, I mean, I remember the water levels were down there for a while, but now that they're back, it's kind of like, wow, this is, I don't know, for some reason the water levels coming back, that made me think to when we were probably kids, growing up around here. For some reason those low water levels, it got to me.
Right.
I don't know
The
why.
association with the water in this whole area has just been a blessing throughout our whole lives. I think the attraction that our parents honed in on is what a unique area, and so many natural resources and so many beautiful terrains. If you take the time to get outside of your little box of normalcy, the woods are waiting for you, or nature,
Absolutely.
the swamps, the cliffs, the edges, as well as just the lake shore that we're really blessed with. The redundancy of saying you can't go so far without being near water, and it's the reality is we are really blessed.
No, that's the truth. That's the absolute truth.
We're absolutely blessed.
And speaking of that, you guys have managed to make somewhat of a career out of being out in the wilderness and really seeing the wilderness for what it is, a potential, not necessarily for resources, but just a natural source for healing kind of foods. Maybe you could tell me, I know you guys are doing mushroom foraging. You're part of tell me about this. You're licensed by MAMI.
Yeah, so for our anniversary, I randomly was looking for something that was an experience rather than a tangible item that I could give to Aaron for a gift, because we have enough things.
Thinking out of the box, yeah.
And I found a mushroom class being offered in Mackinac City, which is close enough to the UP for us. where we like to go. And so I signed up, not really realizing that it was the certification program to be a licensed mushroom distributor.
It was the real deal, wasn't it?
So I found out quickly that I can't surprise Aaron with this because it takes about a month of studying in order to pass the test.
Oh, boy.
And long story short, we passed the test.
Nice.
It's a program through the Midwestern American Mycological Information, and it is the requirement through the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development
Yeah.
in order to sell mushrooms in the state of Michigan. And it's just opened up all kinds of doors for us. We are now the we sell mushrooms online, medicinal mushrooms, which are kind of a trend lately, but for good reason. They boost immunity. They have
I
a
have
whole
benefited
host.
from the chaga mushroom that you guys have gifted me. Anytime I feel a cold coming on, for some reason, I can just tell that is a revitalizing, fungus, that has a lot of
They're the real
vitamins.
deal, Royce.
That's right. It's the real deal, man. It makes me feel great. And it's not only those, though. I mean, there's many others, but I mean, probably one thing people need to know, and I just kind of realized this recently. I never tried it, but you got to cook every mushroom. You can't just get out there and just go, oh, picking mushrooms and eating them. That's the way to go.
You're absolutely right. There comes 100% certainty of concern when it comes to wild forage mushrooms, which we do consider ourselves continual learning experts based on our licensing, and because the licensing indicates and allows us to recognize about 20 different species of wild forage mushrooms within the state. And so outside of those parameters, we're allowed to have specific individual conversations in terms of like foraging and ethics and being careful and making sure that you never make any mistakes, because as you mentioned, you don't want to ever be guessing when it comes to any of this wild foraging at all.
It's Jill and you that are doing it. It's not like there's just random people. It's you and Jill that are really...
For the layperson out there, or any individual that thinks they're interested in mushrooms and they want to try something, never guess when it comes to consumption, or never guess when it comes to making tea. You don't want to ever have any question about the specific mushroom that you're ingesting or that you're consuming one way or another. And that goes true with wild herbs and anything that you forage, whether it's berries or plant vegetation. There's really some concerns with roots, and basically each plant and herb out there is an individual, just like we are.
Yeah.
And you have to respect that. And so with that being said,
You got to respect their roots.
we do feel about him growing as fast as possible.
Sorry, we just glitched there. That was a little cut out. No, but right, exactly what you're saying. Just picking up right from there.
I was going to go ahead and just reiterate that, basically, there are no guessing when it comes to wild foraging.
Yeah, I mean,
you take your time. You 100% certainty.
I am a
find out what
fan.
you have.
Not to cut you. Sorry to cut you off. I'm trying to come back from that glitch here. I guess I'm twitching out here myself. Coming back from the glitch, but I've been watching a lot of these survival shows, and there was one of them where the guy found some chicken of the woods, I believe it is. I mean, and that's a really savored and sought after mushroom, but he ate them. They weren't cooked, and he got very, very sick from it. And I guess that's just one example. I mean, because that's a delicacy, really, the chicken of the woods.
Yes, but eating them raw is a recipe for disaster. The chicken of the woods is probably my all-time favorite mushroom. They're just delicious, and the beauty of chicken of the woods is if you're trying to cut down on your animal product in consumption, the chicken of the woods acts just like chicken. You can shred it like chicken. You can deep fry it like chicken. Any recipe that calls for chicken, you can substitute the chicken of the woods. They're elusive, so if you see them at a market, you should buy them.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of the mushrooms that we encounter, they have that unique profile, let's say. The reason being is because within that 20 species that I mentioned, that I would say 20 of them are medicinal. And the reason being is because there's something that's growing in our backyard, they're growing in the state, and they have just an abundance of nutrient. So that being said, you know, everything from curing specific diseases to blood pressure rates, and basically there's some of these mushrooms where they consider them an adaptogen, and an adaptogen basically is just a nutrient source that is going to cure what ails you, let's say. So when you make tea out of this chaga or the reishi or the turkey tail mushroom, you literally are encouraging a healing process. And so there's a whole
So is it the mix of vitamins, or is it the fungus itself that's so what it's doing, it's entering your body and it's telling your body, hey, you got to stimulate this, you got to start making this and this, whatever those vitamins are.
That's absolutely true.
That's amazing.
Well, in addition to the fact that there's a multi process that occurs organically and subconsciously within all of us, and what it is that you're processing these nutrients that you're receiving. And so if you don't drink the tea, you're not receiving them, for example. And so with the chaga, you've got complex vitamin B, you have complex vitamin D mineral, or complex vitamins, let's say, and then you also, in terms of mineral, you have about a dozen, say 15 different minerals: magnesium, potassium, copper.
It goes on and on.
Vitamin D, vitamin B.
Oh, vitamin B, yeah.
Yeah, and so those.
That's what people are looking for when they're working out, right?
Well,
vitamin B.
Yeah, and it's hard to come by vitamins, and that's just one example. And then you go on to the reishi mushroom and the Asian history of using and drinking and consuming the reishi mushroom. It translates something into like eternal life, and those with longevity, and those that have an abundance of wealth and healing in terms of time on this earth.
Oh, totally.
And so, you know, that's my translation, and it's hard to convey that, but what I can testify to, and I know Joe can do the same thing, is it's been a huge transition of learning, and a huge shift in terms of our diet. You don't have to consume as much, you feel better, you're thinking a little more clear, you feel healthier, and so the abundance of nutrients is really
and
evident.
I have experienced it. I will say I've experienced it myself. I completely agree. You know, I mean, it's an endless, you know, just benefit there. And here's the thing that people don't really know about this: the extremes you have to go to get this chaga mushroom, this particular one, the chaga in particular, I guess. Why don't you guys tell me a little about that? You're going to the far ranges of the state here, right?
Jill can make fun of me all day long.
But I'm not.
No, we should talk simultaneously, because you really, she's witnessed all sorts of endeavors when it comes to searching for this chaga mushroom, and we do it in organic method as much as humanly possible. And so what we've done is we've outreached and networked, thank God, through Jill's efforts primarily, to get permission to be on private properties, and when it comes to being on state land and federal land, that's good for our own cupboards, but when it comes to the sales, we really need to be on private property. So
right.
That being said, we do like a whole search based on map data, based on instinct and where we're at, and the time of season, depending on what the mushroom is. Everybody is excited about the morel mushroom currently.
Oh yeah, so you're part of that too. I mean, let me ask you this: with all your expertise and all your skills, does that necessarily make you a better mushroom hunter if you know what you're looking for, as far as morels?
I believe that you're a better mushroom hunter if you get out there year after year and you remember where you found them, and you go back and you get those mushrooms. That's it. I believe that's the only, and you keep it very secret. Yes, I don't think that there's any other kind of skill.
Wow, Jill, I thought we were going to be secretive about this.
Well, I didn't give away our spots.
No, it's true.
You do need to know.
You have to get
See
out
both
there.
out behind the KASKI Lodge here right before the show.
I looked. The KASKI Lodge is totally void of any mushrooms.
Oh no!
Damn it, Ricky.
Other than the one between Ronnie's toes. Right? Hey.
Hey, Denise, just you're doing good.
You need to know your trees. For the morel mushroom, the most important thing is to get to know your trees. And the weird thing about morel mushrooms is that they used to have a symbiotic relationship with the ash trees, but because of the ash borer, we are now seeing the morel mushroom finding different host trees. So everything we used to know is now new.
Wow. So the whole, I guess, biodiversity of the forest has changed.
They call it a mycorrhizal relationship, and what's happening is there's specific mushrooms like the morel mushroom, in addition to, let's say, the chanterelle, as well as the black trumpet, and a handful of other mushrooms that we consider mycorrhizal. What that means is that they're relying on the relationship of the roots of those trees that are nearby, and there's some type of specific chemistry that's occurring where the mycelium, which is basically the roots of the mushroom, is interacting and providing different nutrients to the tree, and then the tree is providing different nutrients to the mycelium.
That makes sense, because when you're talking truffles too, that would be the same type of thing. Those truffles go right on the roots, don't they?
It's sugars and carbohydrates.
Absolutely.
That's what fungus is all about, sugars and carbohydrates.
My two favorite things.
I guess, that's what fungus and the humans among us have in common, you know?
So it's a divine thing, absolutely, and so hence the reason it's been so challenging for people to actually grow the morel mushroom, or the morchella species as we know it. And so within the morchella species, there's I want to say like 24, or at least about 16, 18 different specific well-known versions of that species. And what I mean is, if there was a fire last year and some of the morels pop out in a pine forest, that's a slightly different morel mushroom, even if it is a darker mushroom, a black mushroom, versus we have the blancas, the white morel, and then we have the grays. As odd as those different names sound, we're just describing the different terms of the morchella species. And as I mentioned, you can have two of the different species. So it's, in some of these circumstances, the primary concern is that the cap is not just attached at the stem. You want the cap attached either midway down the stem.
As in the morchella punk type.
Correct. Absolutely.
We're getting technical. I like that.
Or
for those of you people who are here to learn, you just got taught.
Google it.
So
learn it, Ronnie.
I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to help people like you, Ronnie and Denise. This, I know you're gonna walk home and find someone, in the driveway
really
tonight,
care.
probably, because I'll go walk for 5 hours, but you spend 2 minutes and find more than I
She
do.
was sleeping.
Ronnie would have that. That's what I was saying. The odds of Ronnie finding that much too. Not a time.
Anyhow,
Is Ricky even still here?
I'm not sure. I saw him in the back.
He hangs out. He's Ricky. Ricky. We're still waiting on those. I don't know. You drive out here. I know you live on the other side of Travers. You're driving out here to KASKI. I just don't know what's going on, man. We like you, I guess, overall. My mom said I shouldn't yell. Ricky, you got me there. My mom said I can't yell at you. But...
Rolls, we got to compliment you. You're doing really good, man.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm trying to wrangle this cast of characters here, and it's not easy, that's for sure. I mean, obviously, you can see what I'm dealing with here. Anyway, but, no. You guys, on your adventures into the UP, I mean, these are major excursions. You're bringing your own camper trailer. You're doing all this stuff. What is kind of like the most extreme conditions you have gotten into when you've gone out on these?
All right, well, in the beginning of the pandemic, chaga became very popular as an immune booster and somewhat the helper towards boosting your ability to fight off this stupid virus. And Aaron went up to the UP in the dead of winter to look for chaga because people were wanting it, and let's just say he slept in his car.
Oh, living to the extreme.
And the beauty of the UP is that there is no cell phone coverage for the most part, which is kind of, again, a blessing and a curse.
Oh yeah, you need a CV at that point.
So I'm going to go ahead and say, you know, I thought she was going to cut in with the story of one of our anniversaries, and the anniversary story was, you know, she could segue right into that. And
We don't like to talk about that.
you know, when I am foraging and hunting for these wild forage mushrooms, there is absolutely, as odd as it sounds, I did learn from somebody that's practicing shaman, and the first thing that she taught me was...
Can I do my song?
Sure, do it.
She shaman, she'll be a shaman to you. She shaman, she shaman, she shaman. Anyway.
So back to Rollsreece. Yeah, absolutely. So I got to give props to you know.
Everyone at the just for the background info, what's great? Everyone just laughed at that in the KASKI Lodge. Everyone loved it.
And so there's the honest to God. You know what
Shaman.
you do is you have to give thanks, and you have to give thanks to nature. You have to give thanks to those individual trees. You have to give thanks to the ground you stand on, and you know. The difference is your experience throughout the day, and I experience that every time I go foraging, and so it's a real blessing.
Are you tearing up right now?
I am tearing up because, you know,
Uh-oh.
when I harvest something
Creating
that's
the
been on
visual.
some of these conchs have been on these trees for anywhere from, let's say, 10,
And that's the
15.
name because there's the conch shell, right?
Well, yeah, and so it's easily misunderstood, and there's all these different brackets and knots and gnarls and burls that look similar to chaga, but what we're talking about something is when the chaga, for example, is exclusive to the birch species. So
Okay.
the Septula species is the only place you'll ever find chaga, whether it's the river birch, the white birch, yellow birch, black birch. It's a birch tree, the birch species. If you find something that looks like charcoal, you want to harvest it in a manner where you never damage the existing tree, because sometimes those conchs and those, what other people consider parasites or parasitic mushroom, will live symbiotically with the tree for a long period of time. And when I say long period of time, I mean like 50 to 100 years.
Wow.
So something that people typically like, well, the tree is going to die anyway. Well, that's absolutely not true, because I've experienced different things within my travels. So there's
Now let me ask you this: if one fell off the tree and hit you in the head, would that be a conch in the head?
Oh, by all means. And you're not far from some of my experiences.
We didn't care to take any humor around
So
here.
there was this one time we were talking about earlier, previous when we first got here, about a time when I was going back to a specific tree that I had come across. And it was in the Williamsburg area. If any of you are familiar with Williamsburg, it's not far from the KASKI Lodge here, even though this is my wife's
Like
first
15,
time.
10, 15, right? 10, 15 minutes?
Yep. So
Not bad.
I found this special area near a place that we used to frequent when we were in high school with Rolls. And so
Hanging tough.
I believe they call this place Webster Lake. And so we were...
Loved it.
I actually went back to what's going to be the south end of Webster, and this time I took a small short extension ladder with me. So I climbed up maybe like say 15 or 20 feet to the one tree that was adjacent to the birch, and then I pulled my extension ladder up to that point, and I...
Okay. Just to repeat this for people, to create the visual, he's climbing a ladder up to a branch, he's standing on the branch, and then he's pulling the ladder up to the branch he's on. And I can't state that enough.
It might have
That's
been
how crazy this is.
It might have been an oak or maple, but regardless, I felt comfortable because this is like, I don't bring ladders with me anymore. I have a new climbing technique where it doesn't have anything. It's basically a rope and a metal triangle that I use as a stepping stone, so I don't damage the trees when I climb them, and I'm really cautious to make sure that I never endanger the trees that I'm harvesting off of. That being said, this particular time in Williamsburg near Webster Lake, those are the fun moments. Those are the moments where it's like you do feel like you're rock climbing in the middle of Yosemite or something of that sort.
I mean, that's
I've
an
never
insane
been to
move.
Yosemite, but
You'd hear that like at Cirque du Soleil or something like that. Like that isn't like a real thing that people do. You know what I mean? So, but you're up there.
And this is why I wish there was cell service in the UP.
so she keeps good track
Yeah, I'm
of me.
hanging upside down. Okay, here's the scenario. The ladder's caught on a branch, my foot's caught in the ladder, and I'm hanging upside down 30 feet off the ground. No big deal. Can you get here in 5 hours?
And it's worth it the entire time. So
Well, and it is fun. Let's just
moving
say,
on.
if you enjoy the outdoors, it is fun anyway. Right?
You know, Jill and I are in a different branch where we really, you know, I'm one half of a wonderful working unit. And so, that being said, Jill really has carried a lot of the direction and the weight of the business. She's carried the ability to go ahead and do the marketing and the labeling and all of the background stuff that I'm not very good at personally. When it comes to climbing trees or when it comes to going far out on a branch, absolutely no problem, because sometimes, like as I mentioned, these historical conchs, the ones that I'm harvesting, people have seen from a distance. And
Most of the chaga comes from Russia, so it is really beautiful that we were able to get this in the United States. And you know, the Adirondacks Mountains and things like that, they're finding it there, but we have it in northern Michigan, and that's the beauty of Michigan, I think.
It is awesome, because now that you've shown me where the locations are and how to identify them, and I've been out on a few excursions with you. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I am horrible at it. I can't see. As soon as I start staring at the forest floor, my eyes just go cross. I don't know why. I see two of everything, and I'm just only getting, you know, half the mushrooms.
Right,
is
that's half the
Ricky
battle.
still here? Because I've been waiting for a beer.
Hold on a second.
I thought,
Ricky!
I thought that was Denise.
Denise! Where are you? But, oh my God, that's the beauty of the KASKI Lodge.
Yeah, the KASKI Lodge. This is an amazing place.
So that-
Right now, we're
can't
trying to
believe
track
we've
down a
not
few
been here.
beverages for people, but I don't know where they're at.
I'm gonna do a long walk to hell to find Ricky. I tell you,
Oh, you got to go on a long walk?
find Ricky.
Let's talk some more about mushrooms here while they're looking for beers. There's a lot of mushrooms that we're licensed to sell in Michigan. They include the oyster mushroom, which is super easy to find. You're finding them in the grocery store for one, but they're everywhere.
Now, what
We've-
season is that? Is that spring,
Oyster mushrooms
fall?
are always, like, I feel like you could always find an oyster mushroom.
There's 3 individual oyster mushrooms in Michigan. Jill?
Oh, in the dead of winter, you can find an oyster mushroom, but, you know, in the springtime,
So
there's...
you can harvest them if they're frozen, whatever, on the ground? It doesn't matter.
You know, I mean, you got to kind of check them, and they're really susceptible to bugs, and there's these little black beetles that love oyster mushrooms.
So, Mrs. Grenchik, how do you identify an oyster mushroom?
Well, they usually grow on a tree, like on the side of a tree rather than at the base of a tree, and they will have, they're white, they'll have kind of a buff or white spore print, that's most important.
Well, do they have gills or what's underneath them?
They do have gills, but they do not grow with a stipe or a stem. You need to make
Isn't
sure.
typically gills like, like danger zone, or?
Well, yes, sometimes that is true. There is the destroying angel, which is very prevalent in Michigan, and you
Good
want to
name.
avoid that one. Yes. And the sad thing about that one is it does look like a few other white mushrooms, and so really the oyster mushroom is the only mushroom that we're licensed to sell that's pure white and has gills.
So, Mrs. Grenchik, I could actually think that I'm eating an oyster mushroom, but it's actually the destroying angel.
Oh no, Craig!
That's why it's important to find a licensed mushroom distributor, Mr. Grenchyk.
Well, now we know you got to go through a licensed mushroom distributor like the folks I know here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm the kind of guy.
Obviously, we have a lot of fun with
Like
it.
I say,
I
I'm
give
the-
my wife a hard time.
We're all giving each other a hard time here. I mean, this is the KASKI Lodge. This is a tough place. Here's the thing that people don't know is that before the show even starts, you're holding your own for about an hour, and it puts you on edge a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. This is a rough crowd around here, and it would be better if Ricky would help out a little bit. You know what I mean? But we're getting there. We're getting there.
So
One thing to look for when you're looking for mushrooms in Michigan is pores instead of gills, because generally mushrooms with pores may or may not indicate that that mushroom might be edible. There is the chicken.
Once again, this is brought to you from the KASKI Lodge in Kalkaska. Brought to you by Loud Revving Engines.
Loving this place.
Rocky.
For example, the chicken of the woods has gills. The hen of the woods has gills. The umbrella mushroom has gills. What am I missing, Aaron?
You're doing really good.
The lion's mane has.
The attachment of how the gills go
And
to
by the
site.
way, I just want to say, we're just friends hanging out. If they don't name every single one and you go, well, technically, we're not going to listen to it. We don't care. They know.
Jill-
Believe me, they know it all. If
Jill-
they forget one or two, we're not going to hear about it. All right? Just saying.
When we go to like an outing, let's say, or if we go to dinner, we tell each other, we're like talking on the way to in the car, we're like, okay, just whatever we do, let's not talk about mushrooms. And
We are huge geeks.
And every time we end up talking about mushrooms. And
I'm not even invited to my girlfriend's
You know,
social
that's the
outings
one
anymore.
thing. People won't even admit that everyone's their geek in their own way. I mean, everyone has their own thing that they're just totally into. And nowadays, I mean, it's just like, nowadays, you know, that's how young I am. Nowadays.
Shut up, Ricky.
Not like olden day, Ricky.
You're
Look at that
I
smirk
heard,
on
I
his
heard that
face.
too. I heard it.
Ricky, it's about time for you to step up to the mic, bro. Ricky?
He
Hey!
runs. He runs.
Nice.
Millennials.
She's just looking there, shaking her head. It's
Oh,
hilarious.
Denise. You know, she's 68. She's been here forever. The last time she
Good
saw...
for 68.
She looks great, and you know, for we're the youngest people she's seen here in 20 years. I'm just gonna say that. You know, she was always the young one, and now she's just happy we're the youngest people. Even though, like I say, I'm 43.
I want to get to know her.
Ah, you guys can hang. I mean, she told me she's a big supporter of the show, but she never wants to really be on the show. But she's a huge supporter of it. Actually, I gave her the choice a while back. I was like, maybe we should just get out of here, and she said, no, stay. So it's great, and we appreciate her support. And Ronnie, of course, you know, whatever dirt I know about him, it doesn't matter. I think he likes that I'm here now, and they like Ricky.
He was cool to me.
Yes, of course. What did they say? Open bar, right? Open bar. As soon as they came
That's
in.
what I'm saying.
I'm trying to remember, Rolls. Have you been mushroom hunting with us?
I have. What were the
What are
trumpet
you talking
mushrooms?
about?
We're looking for those black trumpeter mushrooms.
On our hands and knees, like.
And
Scouring.
I remember we got a bunch of them, and you gave me a lot of them, and I brought them home, and they were delicious. I mean, you know, here's, for people who know the Rollsreece story, I'm in the janitor's closet over here at the KASKI Lodge, and I eat a lot of ramen. So I mixed the mushrooms with the ramen. I'm telling you right now, people say ramen will never be a gourmet meal. Yeah, try putting some mushrooms in there, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, I felt like I was in the south of France or something, you know, eating the most, you know, delicacy, the biggest delicacy in the world. It was amazing. I mean, so you guys got your eyes on some stuff that, you know, it grows around here, and people don't really think about or know about it. Now, let me ask you this. You guys do the farm market when it's not COVID, right? I mean, you guys were doing that a lot. And now, was that something you guys brought? Do you bring all the mushrooms to the table, or do you ever have people say, like, are you looking for this type of mushroom, or do you ever have requests for mushrooms? Or?
We always have requests for mushrooms, and it's always morels.
Oh,
and,
I'm sure.
and a lot of people don't know that morels only grow for such a short season. You know, it's that the earliest that we've ever found morels was April 12th, and the latest we've ever found morels was June 6th.
Oh,
and
wow.
both of those were very, very
Keeping good records
Fair,
over here.
yeah,
All right,
yeah,
I like it.
we have
There are
to.
a handful of individuals, and they do come on a weekly basis to the farmers market. We do participate at the Sarah Hardy Farmers Market, downtown Traverse City, Michigan.
Okay.
And then
Is Sarah Harding?
Sarah Harding, is that correct?
Farmers
Yes,
Market.
it's the Sarah Hardy Farmers Market.
Hardy.
It operates on
Hardy,
Wednesdays
okay.
and Saturdays, and we participate in the Saturdays, and every once in a while we drop in on the Wednesdays.
And then
Cool.
there's some of those individuals, and you know, we've had all sorts of attestments where, let's pre-COVID, where we actually could have a group of individuals around the farmers market stand at one time. So instead of explaining myself 50 times over, I could do it like in one swing. Anyhow,
Let me clear my throat.
there would be a testaments to it cured my breast cancer, it cured my lung cancer, it cured my so-and-so, and multiple times I'd be like, I do not know this individual, I don't know this person, they're testifying on their own accord, but the reality is I do believe in these mushrooms that I'm representing to those extents.
And I like that you guys, it's part of the farm market in the, what is it, the old,
It's
I don't want to call it
lot.
insane, it sounds
Yeah.
a mental
Oh,
institution.
you know what? That's right. They do the indoor market.
They do an indoor market at the
And we
the
have
Commons in
participated. Jill
Traverse
did
City,
that.
Michigan, but we have not participated, mainly because of the nature of live mushrooms. You know, we're not finding them in the winter, and that's when the market takes place.
I mean, that's the one I haven't been to. I've been to the one where you guys are, you know, right up over there by the bay, and that was amazing. The cool thing is that, you know, if you're friends with you guys like I am, and you actually want to hang out with you, I'll go down there and I'll say, hey, now we're going to freaking breakfast here, because you guys have been there since what, 5 a.m. or something? I mean.
We get up about 4:30 a.m. for the market, and you know, it's crazy. About 9 a.m. the mushroom people show up. The people that want to buy mushrooms, we say.
It's
You
funny
know,
that they have a time.
Yeah, they really
9
do. They
a.m..
really do.
Used to be
And,
10 o'clock,
and
but
you
yeah,
say,
you're
"Oh,
right.
10 o'clock, I might
Now
be
it's
wrong."
9.
Turning into go-getters.
It's
out there.
shifting.
We get folks and they'll have pictures of mushrooms on their phone, and they want to ask, "What is this? What is this?" And you know, there's maybe, I don't even know, 100,000 mushrooms in the United States that are.
We know of over, like, say, 300 to 500 species. And like when I say know of, I mean literally, we know of. We've
we
heard
know
of them.
There's about 60 to
The
80.
legend has it.
Yeah, we don't know
There's
them
about 60 to
specifically.
80 mushrooms in Michigan that are edible, and 20 of them we are licensed to sell and identify, and those are the ones that we know really well. So
But we have been expanding our vocabulary
if you bring us a dead
exponentially.
mushroom and we don't know what it is,
It's rare.
Oh,
That'd be rare.
not really rare.
That'd be rare.
We
And,
might- we
and
might not know
again,
what it
this
is.
isn't an invite for a challenge, you know, where you're showing up and you're just going, hey, what is this?
You have to find us by
But we're
coming to the
nerdy
farm
enough
market.
that we like to look at your mushrooms on your phone. That's not going to bother us.
No, absolutely not. That's really cool. I mean, and you guys have always been super just free with the info, you know. I mean, and as a matter of fact, you're teachers, and is it okay? Who are you teaching for right now? I know it's 2 different places, right? For sure.
Yeah, so we are just, it's an amazing opportunity. We are, we have just started a mushroom clinic with the Outdoor Skills Academy through the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. And so far we've had lots of classes through Cadillac, which is close to us. And we have one class in Bay City coming up just in next Saturday, a week from today, and 30 participants. And
Do you think there's been a surge because of COVID?
you know, I think people want to get out, and I think people want to like learn their land, and people have only had the opportunity to be in the woods or in their outdoors because, you know, their businesses weren't open. So there's been a lot of opportunity for us, and that's one good thing about our area is that we have a lot of natural resources for people to explore.
And I've always, like, for me, like, just as an amateur person in the woods, and I always kind of have been, it was leeks in the spring.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved getting out there, and you just felt like, oh, I can just pick them right out of the
Oh
ground.
my gosh, they're coming up right now, and they're everywhere.
And I'm not going to lie, this is not something that's really on the mark. I don't know if you're still doing this or not. I mean, but at one time, Jill had a line of these leeks. They had picked bushel after bushel of these leeks.
Rolls, we do, and we're always, you know, you have to to hunt them sustainably. So we're limited in how
Right.
much production we can have.
And you
but
do.
It's
You
such
definitely
a cool
do.
product. Yeah. We dehydrate the leek. We pick the leeks. We pick the greens and a little bit of the whites. You like to leave the roots in the ground if you can. You only want to pick about 10% of the, or leave about 10% of the patch so that they can come back, because there's a 6-year germination rate with leeks and they really don't come back. So if you see a giant patch of leeks and you pick all of them,
It's done.
that may deplete that population.
You gotta make it sustainable.
You do. You totally do. And we are certified by the Institute of Sustainable Foraging, which is an important organization.
Amazing.
And it was a little bit difficult to be certified by that, so we're proud of that. And the leeks, it takes about 6 pounds of leeks to make 1 pound of leek powder, and it's a cool
But I'm not
condiment.
even really talking about the powder. I love the powder. No, I had that powder. I need to get more powder. I actually do. But the pickled leeks.
Yeah.
Jill made these pickled leeks. I'm not even kidding you. My mom is addicted. Anyone who's ever tried it, because they're not like pickle. They were kind of like a sweet pickle kind of thing. I remember
Perfect
it was.
balance.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's a cool recipe.
And I'm sorry to. I know that I'm kind of talking to the masses.
No, it's hard
all
to
40 of you.
until you actually take the time to go out there, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time, but you find and identify what the wild onion looks like, and then you dig it up, and then the process of pickling it, Jill's like an expert.
Well, that's what
The
I'm talking
recipe
about.
is easy. It's just sugar. It's a little bit of sugar. It's a lot of vinegar. It's a little bit of bay leaf, and it's a little bit of love.
Oh my God! And you can taste the love. That's a fact, right there. I love it. And I'm sorry to everyone that's listening. You can't taste these. Some of you just won't be able to ever. They're never going to be really mass marketed. She just does it on, home and love. So I'm sorry to use again. But for me, and at least for my mom, if you have the opportunity, we will buy. My mom's like, my credit card is on deck. She's just putting it on
She
deck.
sent me a message.
I'm sure she's vaccinated now, so she's
and
loose and
that's the
fancy free.
challenge, and so we're trying to overcome these challenges of sustainability in terms of being able to provide a consistent product. And,
Yeah.
And the reality is when we say consistent product, what that means is a very large variable. In other words, we're not going to have those products at certain times of the year because it's seasonal. Also,
Right.
it's a production thing where Jill and I are.
You know your limits,
Yeah, exactly.
and you
So-
stay with it. You respect.
and then
You have a respect
that's
there.
So that's exactly it. And so it seems, it's unusual circumstances, but it is that, every time we spend the energy to go out in the woods on property that we have permission to be on, and we forage for those mushrooms, we go to the farmer's market, when we get to the stand and we're there, like you said and mentioned, we're really trying to provide to the masses to the best of our ability, but we're short-handed due to the fact that the sustainability part of providing that type of product is limited.
Right.
Where we're, it's really a small percentage of us that can even have access to
I mean,
wild
what do
forage.
you say to the people who are like, I would love to get into that? I mean, there can only be so many people
I would
into
say
it, right?
become an activist about supporting natural habitats and natural areas. I would say if you have
Yeah.
property and someone wants to buy it, and they're going to use it for industrial use, don't sell your property. Stuff like that. Basically,
Yeah.
I would encourage like some type of movement to save the little bit of land that we do have. Unfortunately, throughout history and a lot of our all of our lifetime history, there's been the opposite. They've been unprotecting.
Sell.
They've been unprotecting our wetlands per vote, and that happened, from early on in the Reagan administration to the Bush, and then further on, where each time they had some type of a tobacco and trade agreement, next thing you know, Michigan's protected wetlands were dwindled. So,
And truthfully, politics aside, it's really the market that drives that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Money.
absolutely, and I'm fans.
follow the
I'm
money,
fans of
right?
Reagan. I'm fans of the Bush administration. Whatever.
all that aside, dietary restrictions are popular now too. There's a lot of people that are avoiding meat. We're carnivores here.
Yes, I mean,
At the
I love the
KASKI Lodge.
protein. I mean, I'm not
We're
gonna lie.
under a deer head right now.
Now listen. Yeah, we're under the deer ass. As a matter of fact, it's not the good part. You
Sorry,
know,
I
they
didn't
always
look up.
they always
I try not to.
All right.
they
So
always
I
have the
admit,
comical. They always have the comical
I-
deer butt up on
You
the
know,
wall. They
that's
put me up under
kick
it.
me when I'm an ass. I get it.
but I want to also talk about. Now listen, you guys had a very, very unique experience some time ago. You were able to do some catering for an actual movie that was filmed here in northern Michigan. Tell me a little about it. Tell me the title of it, whatever. I mean, I know you're in the credits.
Yeah. So this is our claim to fame. We kind of got into mushrooms when COVID happened, more so, even though we had been doing them for a while. Prior to that, we were catering regularly, professionally catering, weddings, all kinds of sorts. And I had a random message one time looking for a caterer for a film that was being made in northern Michigan in the woods. Okay, well, we like the
woods of where? Can we say where?
Leelanau County.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Northport.
yeah.
Hey, this is a
Northport.
local show. Where specifically?
Okay,
We can
right,
tell the
right.
people,
Leelanau
right?
County, Shabby Town,
Oh yeah.
Northport.
Oh yeah.
And so
What's in between of Northport and Sutton's Bay? What's that little town there?
Leland,
Sweetheart, we know this.
Sutton's Bay,
No, come on. What's a little
Shabby Town,
like right past Shabby?
Omina.
Omina, thank you.
Oh.
And so
The film in Omina.
I always thought that was really weird that they
Marley played in Omina a little while back.
Well, they-
Hey,
Yeah.
Omina's picking up steam here.
not only did
Right.
they choose to do a horror film in Omina, but
Omina.
but if you look at the letters of Omina, it spells omen
Oh no.
plus A.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I kind of was getting to is they started this horror film. We went to Omina every morning for like.
And how far is Omina from your home?
It's like maybe 21 miles.
Okay,
to be
which
exact.
is 40 minutes? or-
Yeah.
So
maybe
so
about
what
that.
film are you talking about, Julie?
Okay, so get this. When I signed up for it, I had zero idea what I was doing. I just said, okay, yeah, I'm brand new at catering. I'm happy to do this. And it turned out.
Was this like your first gig?
Well, yeah, kind of.
Large
Yeah,
scale.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Jill's been
Yeah.
she's
I mean,
a
I
wonderful
cook, but not
artisan
like-
when it comes to the culinary arts.
Right, so I agreed to it, and it turned out to be a film crew of about 60 people, and they're
Wow.
making a horror movie in our area, and it at that time it was called The Hag.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but they changed the name to The Wretched, and
Wait,
Wretched.
the Wretched?
The Wretched.
The Wretched, okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
WRETCHED.
Oh my gosh, you guys, you have to watch
Can you
this
find?
movie.
Where can you find this
You can
movie?
Well-
find it anywhere because it's huge, and it was
This is
voted-
as a proud husband. I have to interrupt. And I apologize, Jill.
And he is proud.
The
Believe me, folks.
Wretched
proud.
was the #1 selling movie this last pandemic summer.
So the pandemic made it a popular movie?
It-
I mean, it should
the
have been a
number
popular
one.
movie already, I
Right.
think, but it was popular because it was available in drive-ins, and it is
Oh,
scary.
wow.
It is so scary, and it's
Scary
got kind of a-
AF.
yeah, scary AF. It was has kind of a wretched, wretched vibe.
and it was done in Omina.
And it was done in Omina, which
And
is
then
already
Northport,
scary.
there were scenes on Old Mission Peninsula.
And we had kind of wretched experiences.
Okay, let's
Well-
talk about that.
I mean, A, because I was kind of learning catering, but B, because it's haunted in northern Michigan in the night.
They say a lot of these woods in these parts are.
It was an interesting request. We didn't know if we were going to be preparing for people to eat at 3 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah, we
and we
thought
would
it
find
was
out
just
12 hours
breakfast and
previous.
lunch.
So you had 12-hour notice on any meal
Right, right.
for 60
So
people.
it may be 3 in the morning for 60 people.
In the
Oh
middle
my
of Lake
God.
Leelanau
Woods.
area.
Yeah, so we learned really quickly what it takes. We converted Aaron's work trailer into a catering trailer.
So Aaron he was kind of like, all right, we're going full bore into this.
He was
Like,
a rock star. He was a rock star. I mean, he
I
wasn't a
remember
movie
I
star
could-
because
I-
he's only in the movie for a second, and I think that was an accident.
It was an accident.
What happened?
Well, I would show up early in the morning and I'd be serving everybody breakfast, and that'd be everybody like all the background. Basically, Jill's like the large label, and I'm out there on the last week because it was
Mainly
such a
I was
stressful
tired and
experience.
crying in bed.
So anyway, yeah, you know,
We all
whatever.
do that from time to time.
They're like, "You want to be in it?" And then I was like, "Nah." But Julia and my nephew, he got a chance to be in it.
yeah,
in
Oh
the
yeah,
background.
some
Kids were in it.
the kids were in it.
It's hard
So-
to find them, but they're in it.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, the thing is even though no one's going to identify them, they got a chance to be part of the whole experience.
Now, who is? Let's say their names. Let's get them on the podcast. Who are the kids that were in it?
Well, my youngest daughter, Julia Mani.
Julia. All right.
Yeah, she listens. I've linked all the kids into this whole scenario.
And my nephew, David Ryan.
Exactly.
David,
Yeah, so
yes,
David,
all right.
Love
David and
David.
Julia
He's an awesome
and
dude.
we hung out and waited for their opportunities, and you know, it's a song and dance that anyone can do. It's just a matter of putting effort forth. If you're interested in doing any type of thespian outreach, like,
Yeah.
you know, you're high school, even if you're out of high school, it doesn't matter. You can reach out to your community. There's people who are proactive. You don't even know what type of commercials are being made in your own neighborhood.
Yeah,
Not
no
to
clue.
mention a #1 best-selling film that my wife got a chance to be the caterer of.
I'll tell you what. I wish I could have been on the set of Going to the Fair, Going to the Fair, Going to the Northwest Michigan Fair. I mean,
That's
this is a
coming up,
Northern
right?
Michigan
Priceless.
show. This is a Northern Michigan
Priceless.
show. If you couldn't have been there, oh my God, I'd love to. I don't know who did that. You know, I'm
I
sure
don't.
it's on YouTube.
But that's a great song.
If you would come onto the podcast and do that, I would appreciate it, man. I would really appreciate if you guys would come on here and, you know, do that song.
Do a little
'cause
jingle.
going to the Reese, going to the Reese, going to the Northwest Rollsreece, going to the Reese,
That would be
going to
priceless,
the
too.
Reese, going to the Northwest.
I do have a banjo by the side of my bed.
Oh my gosh, the niece is now looking at us like, what is
the
going on?
I
over
didn't
there?
know
Judge us,
Rolls
Denise.
cared about
Don't
anybody
judge us,
like
please.
them.
No, she gave us the thumbs up. We love you, Denise. Thanks,
I
Denise.
really
Take it
like
back,
her.
She's
Denise.
a
Take it
great
back.
lady. You know, she's got some stories. She just doesn't want to be on the podcast. You know,
No.
but I mean,
I'm sorry, Denise. I didn't mean it.
It's got to be weird for her.
you know, the reason. I mean, she's just such a staple here.
Should I say D-Nice?
Hey, she's Denise. She's Denise.
She's of nice.
She's resilient.
Yeah, she's
been
making. She's the
like-
lifeblood of her.
I recognize her as like, I remember her when I
Ronnie's
graduated.
giving me a thumbs up. All right, he's been hanging with Ricky.
She's been working here.
Ricky, get him back to his chair.
Has she been working here
Ricky,
since the
get him back to
20s?
his chair. Brace him, Ricky. Brace him! God dang, why? Every time. Ronnie, I like that you're living life to the fullest, but maybe Ricky isn't the best guy to hang out with.
I like that they're friends.
They are. They're good friends, you know. They hang out here. This is the only time they hang out.
I think it's his grandma.
It
It's-
is? Oh my
No,
God.
Ronnie is not his grandma. It would
Shut
be his
up.
grandpa, I guess. I mean, he's a guy for sure. Ronnie,
Wait,
you're a guy,
Ronnie
right?
is Ricky's grandpa?
Well, he is bald. I mean,
Ricky's
that's not a
only
toupee,
Ricky's
Ronnie.
balding, but not.
The Ronnie.
I know.
Did I say
Ronnie's-
I meant grandpa.
Is Ricky balding? Oh, I feel bad he's wearing a hat.
I've never seen him without a
Oh my gosh,
stocking
I'm a
cap
jerk.
on.
Grandpa.
I mean, now it's getting to
Hipsters.
be like 80 degrees out, and he still has a stocking cap.
It's a
So I'm wondering what's
hipster
going on
thing.
here.
Ask him about TikTok.
What's going on TikTok, Ricky?
I do TikTok like they don't drop.
TikTok, you don't stop.
I don't understand TikTok.
Me neither. I mean, is it like you're supposed to have a choreographed dance move every time,
I
or
don't
what's going on
know.
there?
I don't know.
They changed it. It used to be like a 10-second segment, and now they've made it so TikToks are longer, and now I don't understand.
Okay, so we're older people and we don't, you know, for younger people who are listening to that, you're getting insights into the way older people think. And for older people, hey, just get on board. Let's hang, you know, let's just freaking hang.
We're on YouTube,
I'm
right?
totally-
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I would love to fill the KASKI Lodge right now with people our age just going, yep, I get it. My back hurts too.
everyone I told about hanging with Rolls, they were kind of intent. They're like, "Are you serious? You're gonna go hang with Rolls?" I was like, "Yeah, for real, man."
I think it was more like you're going to hang with Rolls, and then you.
No, that is not what they were doing. I'll tell you that much.
Grody to the max for sure.
Anyhow,
Gog me with a spoon.
so I'm on my hands
That's
and
what the
knees
kids
looking
are
for
saying.
mushrooms.
Okay, maybe we should talk about the hedgehog mushroom. We haven't talked about that.
Oh boy, we got the hedgehog mushroom.
That
Let's
is a
talk
funny.
about it.
It's a funny name. Hedgehog sounds like we have like a hedgehog. Do we have hedgehogs in Michigan?
I don't know.
We have porcupines.
We have porcupines.
That's the closest thing we have to a hedgehog, I think.
Okay. But
But
we
yeah,
have, we have a
so
mushroom
are
that
they
looks...
out right now or what?
No, they're not.
They're
not.
fall mushrooms.
Yeah, they're kind of fall, like later summer, but they have little spikes instead of gills, instead of pores.
That's
and
true.
They look like hedgehog or porky. They're little quills.
I mean, these spikes aren't gonna like. If you grab one, you're not gonna get
And what
spiked
we're
by it,
what
right?
we are referring to is the bottom side of the cap of the mushroom. So,
But it's not gonna poke you. Like no one has to
No.
worry about.
Not
like,
at all.
Not at all.
They're soft and they fall off. Actually,
Really
the
easily.
biggest challenge with the quills is that they kind of fall off in your bag, so you have to be super careful with them. But the flavor is amazing. They're so good, and they
Is
kinda,
there a comparison to the
I would
flavor?
compare them kind of to a black morel, which is
Oh,
weird,
wow.
but
Wow.
they're good. They're
Kind of
just like,
meaty, buttery.
yeah,
light
meaty and
walnut.
buttery. The little quills like brown up in your pan and like kind of make a really beautiful sauce. They're really good in risotto because they hold up their consistency and they kind of have a little nice bite to them. They're just really good.
Plus, they're a funny name.
Yeah, and when you find them and you flip them over and you see those quills, there's nothing like them.
I'm terrified of risotto. Gordon Ramsay has basically made risotto like just a terrifying dish because every time
Gordon
I
Ramsay
see
is a
him,
whore.
Hey now.
Whoa! Ramsay, come on!
Hey, bring it on, Ramsey.
Come on to the show,
Come
Ramsay,
on, man.
if you
Check it
dare.
out. You heard what she said. No, you know what we did though is we had a Mario stop by the farmer's market one day, and that was an interesting thing where
Now, for those who don't know the first name,
Mario
Patali.
oh, no kidding!
yeah, so
Wow.
he did buy hedgehog mushrooms.
And
from
I
us.
didn't
cool.
recognize him. He's lost a little bit of weight.
Hey,
That does-
he's doing good for himself.
Whoa, hey,
Hey-o.
somebody cut her
I
off.
mean, I think.
No, cut me off. I'm telling you, Rollsreece
No,
is having
anyhow,
a good time over
we,
here.
we were
Right.
obliged to have somebody of his stature come to our farm market and purchase wild forage mushrooms from our stand. And so, but it was unique and it was like, it made sense and nobody recognized him because it was during a difficult time.
But he was wearing Crocs.
And his,
Oh boy.
in his, I imagine being in his shoes and his Crocs were probably a challenging time period.
That's a crock.
Because it was, and so no one knows that now. Because they're like, oh, I forgot about. Now I'm just thinking Kardashian, whatever's happened with Kanye and Travis Parker. I'm not beyond that. I'm not sure what happened last week. Anyhow,
That's some good gossip right there.
Wait, is this politics?
Tune in for more about Kanye and Travis Barker.
sorry about your episode. On
So about
everybody.
hedgehog mushrooms.
but tell you the truth, believe it or not, we have been here for our allotted hour that they allow us to freaking hang up in the loft. I can see the other people mingling in. They want their table.
There are people here.
Yeah, they
I've just
mingle.
been ignoring
well,
them.
they're the early birds. They have drinks, and then they do the 4:00 dinner, and then
Smells like old people in here.
yeah, there's some. That's in some old farts around here. I've said it before. Not you, Ronnie. Not you, buddy. That hair
No
is
judgment.
real. Anyway,
Ray, can
so
I
just go ahead.
I just want to go ahead and summarize. Jill and I, we feel like we're just blessed to be here, and
Well, thank you.
and thank you, Rollsreece, and GreatLakesTreats.com, and that's GreatLakestreats.com
Tag it.
is the way to go ahead and link up with our wild forage industry portion of it. And then we have Traverse City Hemp, which is easier for me to spell as well as go ahead and remember.
Spell it.
That's TraverSecity.com. Or I'm sorry, yeah, hemp. I didn't spell hemp. All right, after Y HEMP.
We'll put the links in the
So
profile.
TraverseCityHemp.com because the big thing is that you remember Traverse City and then you remember hemp HEMP.com, and then you can link up to either one of us. So GreatLakesTreats.com or TraverseCityHemp.com.
We'll put the links in the comments below.
Okay, yes, we will. We definitely will.
There we go. So I appreciate everyone's taking the time to listen, and thank you, Rollsreece, for the
No,
opportunity.
I just wanted to say just a thanks to Jill and Aaron Grencik. They're just amazing people. I mean, most importantly, they're here because they're friends of mine. That's why they're here. But
Absolutely true. Ray, we love
because
you.
this bar is awesome.
And the lodge is amazing. We really, we're astounded by what you've done here.
It's a cool venue. Like I say, I'm in the janitor's closet for now. Until the podcast takes off and I start making money.
I didn't know that. You didn't have to tell us.
Hey, times are tough for Rollsreece. He doesn't have a full-time job. He's not connected to anyone in that way.
All I
So
know
like
is
and subscribe.
Jill, we'll bring you some dinner tomorrow.
Thank you. Whatever, old potatoes, whatever you got. But hey, thanks for tuning into the Rollsreece podcast. I am Rolls Beast. I want him to bring roast beef. That's what I was hoping they'd bring. But I am Rollsreece. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.